Well, good afternoon. It's been said that there are decades when nothing happens, and there are weekdays or weeks that decades happen. It's a way, I think, of describing what's happened not only from a California context, but a global and national context, the magnitude of what has happened with this pandemic, the impact it's had on individuals, lives lost, but also the economic consequences of this virus are now just coming into sharper focus. Just here in the state of California, just since March 12th, some 3.1 million Californians have filed for unemployment insurance. Today, I stand in front of you, sobered by the reality of the last few weeks. We are now in a pandemic-induced recession here in the state of California. Today, we want to talk a little bit more specifically about our simultaneous efforts to focus not only on the crisis at hand, the situational challenges that remain daunting in the state of California, to not only bend the curve, but to see that curve begin to decline to meet the needs of millions and millions of Californians and address the crisis, but simultaneously at the same time, begin to focus much more robustly, much more comprehensively on economic growth and economic recovery. We are the most diverse and we are the largest state in the union. And as a consequence, we need to be very prescriptive in our strategies, very targeted in our strategies and approaches as we begin to sectorally and regionally focus on the issue of economic recovery and economic growth. That's specifically what I want to now talk about today, is what that looks like and how we can be guided and aided in our effort to fully recover as a California economy. I should just note, since the Great Recession, California led the nation with 15% of all the American jobs were created since the Great Recession were created right here in the state of California. 3.4 million jobs since that recovery began, only to be confronted by this new reality. We ended our streak of 120 consecutive months of net job creation. It ended officially with our March numbers. We have an advisory committee that represents the diversity of our state geographically and otherwise. Strategy is predicated on inclusion, growth and inclusion. We respectfully submit that before we entered into this deeply challenging times, that those challenging times, despite those economic numbers, were very, very visible in a bifurcated and hybrid reality for many that were having the experience and benefits of the economy and others that were still struggling and left behind. A wealth and income inequality and divide that was among the highest in the nation. Poverty rates, homeless rates in this state, despite the incredible economic growth.
Health and safety have to be paramount here in California, but everyone is also hurting economically. People across the state are worried about their jobs, and they're worried about taking care of their families. And I think it's absolutely critical at the outset to point out that resource-starved communities have been hit the hardest by this and are suffering the most and disproportionately. And that any equitable recovery plan is going to have to put those communities front and center. Let me just read the mission statement of what is called, and it's a mouthful, the Governor's Task Force on Business and Jobs Recovery. To develop a strategy to help California recover as fast as safely possible from the COVID-19-induced recession and to create a fair, green, and prosperous future. We will bring together Californians from the public and private sectors and from communities across our state. We will develop a plan that works for all Californians with a particular focus on those hardest hit by the pandemic.
I should just extend, we have now 80 people that are part of this advisory panel. Not only people like Bob Iger, representing some of the largest businesses anywhere in the world, and certainly here as one of the largest employers in the state of California, but we have representatives including Ida Alvarez, who ran the SBA under the Clinton administration. We have Janet Yellen, who joined this effort, former Fed chair, talking to us about community QE and the MLF program, them. We have people with unique expertise and insight, particularly in organized labor. Mary Kay Henry, the international president of SCIU, predominantly a healthcare labor organization. Willie Adams, ILWU, international president, as part of this effort. We have tribal Chairman Ramirez, who joined this effort. Healthcare, Lloyd Dean, and people like Greg Adams, the largest health companies in the world, Kaiser, also part of this effort. I could be a peril going through the list of everybody's name, leaving people off like Tim Cook or Mark Benioff and many others that have joined, all of them eager to participate. And I should just say all of them, we had the chance to reach out to all of them, and universally people said, let me know how I can help. Let me know how I can be supportive.